Greetings of love and peace from the OCDS of the Philippine Province of St. Teresa of Jesus. I am Meg Ramos, President of the Provincial Council. We will share with you first on spiritual poverty at the heart of Theresian spirituality. Therese was always mindful of her poverty before God, and so she clings to focusing on the bounty and generosity of God. Having those in her consciousness, she confidently withdraws from God's treasury as if God gave her his password for access to his bank account. Therese is shrewd. She can even playfully take advantage of God because she is confident he will never say no to her anyway. Her words, which I quote, "I can depend on nothing, on no good works of my own," unquote, make her depend on God alone. And because of that, she realized that she will always be in debt to Him. It made her think this way: never in my life would I be able to pay my debts to God. So, out of her cleverness, she asks the creditor to pay for the debtor's loans. Take a look at what she came out with. She says, "Oh my God, I beg you, pay the debt that I have acquired." What? Isn't that an out of this world strategy? I cannot go to the bank and tell the bank to pay for my loan. They will kick me out. And yet for Therese, it works. She is so sure about that.
Saludo de Paz. I am Marlon of the Holy Child Jesus, OCDS.
I am Arlene of the Sacred Heart of Jesus, OCDS.
We are from the city of Zamboanga, Philippines. We were married on July 18, 2017.
On February 26, 2024, we made our final promises to the secular order of the Scald Carmelites.
We are social worker by profession, and our advocacy focuses on child protection, youth development work, and humanitarian work. As young social workers, sometimes it's hard to see the purpose of our work. Oftentimes, we are engrossed with the demands of our job, which requires much of our time,
Energy and commitment, especially in delivering social welfare services and protection to the poor and most vulnerable sector in our locality.
Sometimes it's hard to manage daily stresses and difficulties in dealing with different personalities and behaviors of our clientele group. After work, we have our common prayer time at the Blessed Sacrament to spend time in silence. As a couple, we acknowledge that God is the author of our marriage. Christ is the main source of this grace. Through this grace, we are committed to one another, especially in striving for holiness in our marriage life.
Therefore, we decided as a couple to enter Carmel in 2016 because we want to grow in faith, grow spiritually, and gain strength to balance our spiritual life and work life. As we continue to journey together in Carmel, we are grateful to have Saint Therese of the Child Jesus as our sister, prayer warrior, friend, and our companion. Saint Therese encourages us to take on those little actions that we are doing to our clients and see the worth and the holiness in that service.
Her stories remind us to be a little child in the presence of God, to trust in the love of God. Saint Therese inspired us to find joy in even the smallest actions done with love. They are the ones that charms his heart.
Hi, I'm Dr. Roslyn Collado Garcia, OCDS from Quezon City. In my practice as an OBGYN specialist, my everyday life begins and ends with a prayer of thanksgiving, a way by which I'm able to hold ground with a friend, a companion, knowing that whatever life may throw my way, someone holds my back. When a patient comes for a visit, I've learned to put down my pen and intently listen as she talks, because I believe in the saying that illness is 99% in the mind and only 1% organic. All they need is a listening ear. I see it as an opportune time to let them know that the road to wellness is not traveled alone, but together we can journey in prayer. Before any surgery or delivery of a baby, I would silently mumble the words from a surgeon's prayer. It makes me realize my weakness, my inadequacy, and I end up uttering the words, Lord, I draw strength from you alone. When meeting the relatives after a surgery, hearing their words of gratitude and praises, I would always be reminded of a phrase from Psalm 115. Not to us, Lord, not to us, but to your name be the glory. For I am but a mere instrument of his great power and the vessel from where blessings will flow forth to others.
Our next reflection is on the three dimensions that are inseparable from Theresian littleness. And the first is littleness. Jesus taught us to call God our Father, and that became a top of the head principle for Saint Therese. She glued herself to it with all her strength and gave it a whole new meaning. The bedrock of her confidence in the generosity of the Father is the truth that God is a Father and this Father is God. She asserts we can never have enough confidence in God who is so good, so powerful, so merciful. Saint Therese had very great desires, but she never owned that she had the strength necessary to do great things like the great saints. So she had to find a way in keeping with her littleness, of which she was so deeply conscious. Therese understands that what is needed is not to be little, but to become always more little in order to remain little. She tells us repeatedly that she wants to become more little in order to love more exclusively, to love more purely, and weakness will be an effective means of making it come true. She grasped fully St. Paul's words in his second letter to the Corinthians: My grace is enough for you, for my power is made perfect in weakness. And Therese puts it so beautifully in letter 55. It is its weakness which gives rise to all its confidence. The second dimension is God does all. Therese says, it is Jesus who is doing all, and I am doing nothing. However, she reminds us that although Jesus does all, she consequently insists on doing little acts of love. In letter 143, she says, when I am feeling nothing, when I am incapable of praying, of practicing virtue, then is the moment for seeking opportunities, nothings which please Jesus more than mastery of the world or even martyrdom suffered with generosity. And the third dimension is confidence. The Russian littleness is about accepting the reality of our weakness and to offer ourselves to God as we are so that He can act in us. The rest is a simple equation, and I think it goes like this. First, God asks her something. Second, she feels she is incapable of doing it. Third, therefore, He will do it in her. The rest has a very daring confidence. She said, I want to be holy, but I feel my powerlessness, and I ask you, oh my God, to be my holiness. May Saint Therese continue to inspire and guide us in loving Jesus as he wants to be loved. Thank you, and from the Philippines, mabuhay.